Hey everybody, welcome to Average Guy Opinions. I'm your average guy, Joe Corelli. Uh, let's talk about the wild world of Joe Corelli again. Also, I know I was kind of flirting with quitting comedy the last couple of episodes, so I had a good show last night. I hosted pretty well. We had a lot of great talent. We had a full room, so I'm going to keep it going for a while. It's a fickle bitch. Comedy is tough, and I'm not making money at it, but as long as I'm not losing too much money and I'm having fun and we can get rooms full of people, I can deal with that. So last night helped boost me up for the month of August, and we'll just try to keep it going, I guess. So comedy's good. I'm happy with that. I probably look tired. I feel tired. And I told you guys, my son Logan got a job at Lakeside. He's doing really well with it. They call it performance based, which I think every company should be run this way. He gets more hours based on how well he's doing his job, and they keep just giving him shifts, so he's doing really well. They only pay 10.50 an hour, but still that's not bad when you really don't have any expenses outside of video games. So good for Logan. I'm happy with that. But yeah, so my shows are late now. They're Saturday night shows. They go from like 10 to maybe 10, or excuse me, 11:30. Last night's show really went long. We kept going to 11:45. It was a really good show, and people just seemed to be fine with us giving them more. Uh, but so I got out of there and I got to Lakeside around 12:15. I knew they shut down around 12. I figured Logan would be out by 12:30 and get out till 1 o'clock. And then we got home, and you can't just go crash, fall asleep after you've been doing, you know, work. And so we hung out and we watched a movie. By the time we went to bed, it was 2:30, and I got up at 8:30. So I'm on 6 hours, which I can deal with. But I've also spent the entire day with my dad, so 6 hours sleep plus another 6 hours of Joe Corelli, or 5 hours. It feels like 12. I wish I were exaggerating about this, but I'll tell you about the day. I got 8 minutes to kill. I think I can easily do it when it comes to Mr. Joe. So, got there around noon today, and his health is just getting worse and worse and worse. It's just, and a phone conversation or a conversation in general, but especially a phone conversation, is just grueling because there'll be a bunch of coughing. Then he'll try to say what he's trying to say. He'll ask if you can hear, if I can hear him, and this is everybody because I've noticed I'm starting to feel better about myself. I used to take it pretty personally because I was a kid, but now I don't as much because it's everybody. He treats everybody like a puppet or a child, and or an idiot. So, but like he does this with everyone on the phone. Can you hear me? And explains his lot in life, and I'm sure the person on the other end of the phone is just going, please just come to the point. And that's what I'm trying to get him to do too. I'm like, Dad, you don't have breath to waste on telling me, oh, I'm coughing. Yeah, I hear you coughing because that's how phones work. So just tell me what you want, or how about I just tell you this? I'll be up there at 11. Is that good? Yeah, that's good. And then all of a sudden he launches into all the things we got to do. I'm like, you don't need to tell me. You can tell me when we get there. Well, we got to go through this clause and do these specific. And it's just like he's just wasting breath that he doesn't have. It's very frustrating. But so I got up there around noon. He, I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, we sat around for like 2 hours today. Just sat there, and I tried to be patient. I was actually really proud of myself because we did almost nothing for 2 hours. He started watching TV, and I'm like, "Are we gonna do anything today?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." And also that's why I think he's starting to get, I don't know, senility, dementia, whatever you want to call it. I think it's just an aging brain. He just forgets stuff a lot. He'll yell at me, and then I'll yell back, which that's my fault for it. I shouldn't be yelling back at him, but sometimes you just get tired of taking it after 53 years. But he yelled at me, and it was like mid conversation, and I said, "You need to stop." I yelled at him back. He's like, "Why are you yelling?" I said, "You just yelled at me." And he's like, "Well, that's because I needed to get your attention." I go, "We're having a conversation. You did not need to get my attention. You're just making stuff up." And he's like, "No, you were walking the other way." I go, "Well, I wasn't. I was standing there, and you just assumed I was headed a certain direction. And next thing I know, you're yelling at me, and next thing I know, you're claiming you're not yelling at me, and here we are." It was just a mess. But we did get some stuff done a little bit. He's still upset. I thought like a few days ago, I thought we were in a good place because he seemed to have reality slapping in the face as far as what we need to get done in, at this point, less than a month, and at this point, 2 weeks of my help, or at least a good portion of me helping. before I go back to school on August 9th. Uh, but I was chalking it up as a loss because it was just a grind, and he's going through everything, and he's micromanaging again, and it's making me crazy. And then you had this guy named Kenny come over, and I love this guy. He's a few years older than me. I think he's 57 or 58, and he went to Ranham, and he knows like all these people that I sort of knew when we were growing up in the 70s and 80s. He knew the Smaldones. He's like on a very tight base with the Smaldones. You don't know who they are. They are kind of like allegedly the like Italian crime family of Denver Front Range area, and I heard of them all the time. I didn't know any of these people, but as being a Corelli, the Corelli Denver Corelli family, of which I am not. I mean, I'm probably related to them somehow, but we came from New York, and these Corellis were already here, and they were on CNC Towing. I think I've mentioned them in past videos, but when I went to high school with Margaret and Leanne, they were actual Corellis, and I'm like, no, I am one, name spelled the same and everything, but I'm not part of that family. And they were apparently tight with the Smaldones, and who knows? I don't know if we got a lot of little Tony Soprano kind of kind of wannabes running around or what, but that he told me he knew all these people, knew Rick Corelli and Don Corelli, who I know I mentioned about Lakeside in the Lakeside video where they raced, and he just told me today, we're having a conversation, and oh, by the way, my dad knows Kenny because my dad goes to the same church as Kenny's dad, Don, and Don's a very sweet man, love him, so nice, the opposite of my dad, and but then Kenny's really cool, and Kenny came over, and he's helping, but it's to his benefit. He's getting a lot of stuff, but he's also helping us immensely. So honestly, we should be paying him. He's like, oh man, I should pay you guys for some of this stuff. This is great stuff. I'm going to use it a lot. You're also taking massive amounts of garbage off our hands that we don't have to deal with. So I'm calling it a wash. If anything, I should buy you a meal. He took my card today, my little comedy card, so hopefully he'll come and get to watch me do some stand-up sometime. He's a funny guy. He was telling me all these hilarious stories, like I was telling you, being raised in Northwest Denver, Wheat Ridge, Arvada area, and all the crazy people we knew. He told me Rick Corelli is also, I forgot the name of the company, it's some racing company or supply for racing company. He's making like $500,000 a year or something insane like that because he was so good at his job as a driver, and then was like a support guy for drivers, and now he's a corporate dude making a ton of money. But he was just telling funny stories about getting in fights at raceways because of knowing these guys, and just all kinds of cool stories. And this is where it makes me really sad for my dad. So we're just talking to each other while we're strapping down the stuff into Kenny's truck. A bunch of boxes and shelving, and we're strapping it down. I'm helping him strap it down, and I'm facing the front door when my dad often just looks out, just micromanages and looks bitter. And I'm looking at him, and Kenny turns around, and he looks at me like this, and I'm like, yep. My dad's smoking with the oxygen in front of a man who has just got done battling or still battling cancer, really rough bowel cancer. And handling it very well. Like I said, Kenny's a super nice, fun guy. I love this dude. And so Kenny couldn't hold his tongue. He turned around and goes, "What are you doing, Joe?" And my dad's like, "What are you gonna do?" Like, "You're gonna stop smoking. Put it out." He literally told him to put it out. And my dad looks at me like, "You gonna do something about this?" I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna do anything about this. This is what we call sense talking right now. You should not be smoking when you're on oxygen." And then Kenny told me, yeah, that's how Marie Smaldones lost her life, that she was smoking with oxygen and the bedroom blew up and she died. And so and then we had some more laughs. And this is the saddest part about Joe Corelli's life. When he's not trying to micromanage or tell men in their 50s how to do something, which he was quite a bit, he just can't get very little joy of life. Not only sometimes he'll laugh at stuff, and sometimes he'll take small amounts of joy in life, but he would rather share his misery than watch other people be joyful. And a perfect example of that was when Kenny and I were out there maybe 10 minutes. It wasn't a long time. It's not like we were just ignoring him, but he was in there just on his oxygen anyway, just resting, which he needed to do. And we're talking and we're laughing. He's like, "You guys done yet?" And I'm like, "No, we're not done yet. We'll be done in a minute." I come in. He goes, "What was that all about?" I go, "Well, yeah, we grew up in the same neighborhood, and we were talking about just silliness from the 70s and 80s. I don't care about that." It's like, he's like, what did you figure out when he's coming back? I go, no, that's between you and him. It's just like, what are you talking about? It's like, well, you were supposed to do that. I go, you didn't tell me anything about asking him when he's coming back. I go, he mentioned the tools that you might give to someone else, and he's still interested if you don't give him to that someone else. He's like, oh, you got it all wrong. I go, okay, fine, I got it all wrong. Go talk to Kenny and get it right. So that's another tale of my dad and the personal misery he lives every day. Hopefully you guys aren't living in a personal misery. Hopefully you have a joyful, happy, productive life. I'm somewhere in the middle, and that's why I do comedy. All right, see you guys soon. Thanks for listening. That's about it. Hopefully I'll have something interesting to talk about tomorrow. Bye.